Hello, it's me. So the rather smart gentleman next to me on screen is Mr. Samir Shah, the BBC chair, the chairman of the BBC, no less. So he's been in the job for about a year now and has a 4-year contract. Is that a problem? Should these people be in for long periods of time? Do let me know. He's getting £160,000 a year for 4 years, guaranteed. Unless he, does something unbelievable like edit a speech by the President of the United States. Will he stay or will he go? Time will tell. And for £160,000 a year, he only has to have a commitment, or rather the role requires a time commitment of 3 days. So this isn't Mr. Shah's only position. What else does he do? Do I care? Not really. Job's for the boys though, eh? Nice work if you can get it. Shall we?
I'd like to take this opportunity, first of all, to apologise to all the people who believe in the BBC and care for it and wish it to survive and thrive. I'd like to apologise to them.
So, this is something that the BBC have traded on for since the time of the war. There's a nickname for the BBC here in the UK, and it's called Auntie. It was in your home. It was a part of your family. This was the bond of trust the BBC had with its viewers.
The licence fee payer who funds the BBC to deliver its mission, and I'd like to...
Who funds the BBC to deliver its mission. Now I have a problem with that phrasing, mission. You're delivering entertainment, BBC, and news. It's not a military exercise or an intelligence exercise. Or is it? Because this is what's at the heart of this apology. The BBC is falling apart before our very eyes. It's lurching from one disaster to another because it can't help itself, because the intelligence services that I believe, and I've no evidence for this is just a suspicion on my part, that the intelligence services that I believe are ostensibly now running the BBC, well, there's a lot of work to do on the planet. There are lots of messages to deliver to the people of the UK and other parts of the world who watch the BBC service. What we're looking at is an intelligence service that's become so comfortable with skewing the news that it did so with Jeremy Corbyn just a few years ago, where it doctored a photograph of him to make his hat look a bit more Russian. It's just ridiculous. They put a picture of the Kremlin behind him. He wasn't in Russia, in front of the Kremlin. They doctored a picture of the Kremlin behind it. Not only did they doctor a picture of the Kremlin, they did it in that print art fashion that the Russians are so famous for, block art. And they put the lines of the rising sun behind his head. Oh my God! And WTF? So, it's the money. There are very few other countries that can lay claim to the fact that their citizens are actually funding, openly, and with the full consent of the law, an intelligence service. Whoever it is who's behind all this is like a pig in shit.
I apologise to the thousands of people who work for the BBC, our staff, who work with such dedication and commitment to deliver the output we all enjoy so much.
What, the dedicated, committed staff who edited the footage to make it look as though Trump was lying? As I keep saying, I'm no fan of Trump, but that was unforgivable.
I regret the mistakes that have been made.
They're calling it a mistake. Anyone who thinks this was a mistake on the part of the BBC doesn't know how TV is put together. There are a whole slew of people who review footage, submit footage, assess the footage, edit the footage, okay the footage for broadcast, and eventually broadcast the footage. If there aren't a slew of people, where's my license fee money going?
The impact that has had. Let me now come to the question that you asked. Just, if I may ask you, just repeat it for me so I can answer it.
He's forgotten.
Did you block the head? Did you and the rest of the BBC board block the head of news from apologising for the Panorama programme on the 10th of November?
Oh, I didn't know about that.
If you go back to the week in which the story broke in the Telegraph, and you wrote to me, and I was writing the answer to you. I heard that the news wanted to apologise for the splicing of the edit with a white spark. I thought that was a necessary thing to do, but wasn't sufficient, because the fundamental issue here was the sequencing of the edit and the placing of the Proud Boys march.
So if I understand this correctly, they edited the footage. So they say they put a white spark in there. So filmic language is a thing. When you watch a movie, you'll get things like hard edits, just a straight cut, or you'll get wipes where the screen like fades from one side to the other. And these visual mechanisms are meant to describe things, the passing of time, a shock, those kind of things. And we implicitly know, because we've become used to these mechanisms, we kind of understand what they mean. But I don't think it's at all clear that we understand these things when it comes to factual news items. My feeling is that an edit should, at all times, just be there to cut away fluff. And if there is a high-profile individual who is delivering a message, that message needs to be intact.
I think the real issue here was the impression left that the President Trump, in his 6th of January speech, had called to violent action. And what we had to apologise for was that, as well as the splicing of the edit. It's my view that editing interviews is a normal journalistic practice. So that in itself...
And that's true. Editing interviews is a normal journalistic practice. But the edit is meant to just dispense with fluff, dispense with meander. When I'm doing these pieces to camera for you guys, I edit. It's necessary. I find myself going down roads and saying things that when you review the footage that you've shot, you think, I could do without that, and you take it out. But the message that I'm giving to you, my viewpoint on whatever it is I'm commenting on, remains intact. And this is the problem. This is the nub of the problem. President Trump's message did not remain intact. Not only did it not remain intact, it was omitted in favor of a narrative that he didn't give. Now listen carefully. It was edited in favor of a narrative that the BBC wanted to give you. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is dark. There's always been and will always be an element of the government in TV. I think to a certain degree, to a very small degree, it's necessary. And this is what's led me to the conclusion that it's the intelligence services who are effectively running the BBC now. The only change has been is that they've bizarrely not been able to help themselves. They've become more and more brash. Almost as though they've become so confident in what they do, they don't care anymore. And as a result, it's on show for us to see. I watch the BBC. I have a programme that I watch, just one programme, and I pay my licence fee to watch that one programme. It's a guilty pleasure. I'm not telling you what that programme is. I am seriously considering stopping paying for my licence fee to watch the BBC. And if and when that happens, I will adhere to the guidelines and I will not watch any live broadcast TV. I will only watch what I'm allowed to watch because I believe on being on the right side of the law, which is why I pay my licence fee for one programme. If I do decide to stop paying, then I will document it on this channel and we'll go through the process of cancelling my TV licence together, shall we? And see how that goes. It's dire, isn't it? It's terrible. We shouldn't be here, and yet here we are. Do let me know what you think in the comments below. Do like, subscribe, and share, and comment. It really does help the channel. Helps me remain relevant to the algorithm. And until next time, this is me signing off. Do look after yourselves.